Tonight's most up-to-the-minute scores, highlights, and sports news from coast to coast. This is Fox Sports News Primetime.
Hello, everybody. On a night full of NBA final action, the battle for the championship has finally begun. Yeah, we know July 4th is right around the corner. But they finally begun the battle for the NBA championship.
Couple of thrillers tonight.
That's true.
Thrilling to be sitting next to you, my friend. Let's bring in that Jumbotron for a preview of coming attractions. It is Game 1 of the NBA Finals as the underdog Bulls, yes, the underdog Bulls, try to steal one at the Delta Center.
On the Ice Stars try to clip the wings and force a Game 6 in the Western Conference Final.
And we'll find out if El Duque can take care of the Devil Rays in his Major League debut. We'll tip things off with the NBA Finals, where Utah's 10-day vacation is over. Back to work, back to the salt mines, taking on the same team they lost to in last year's championship series. Utah versus Chicago. Some favor the Jazz, but Utah coach Jerry Sloan says, quote, until you beat the Bulls, they're still the champs.
He is very concerned.
Well, here we go. Dennis Rodman expected to start, but strained ligaments in his right thumb forced him to come off the bench tonight. First quarter, Jazz a little rusty. How often do you see this? John Stockton throwing it away. Then Karl Malone has inside position. And he blows the layup. Jerry Sloan a little worried, but it was tied after one. Second quarter, Utah's bench got it going. Jazz on a 10-0 run. Shandon Anderson lays it in. Jazz took an 8-point lead. Now it's Phil Jackson who's concerned. But have no fear. MJ's here. Jordan drives, gets the hoop, then in the post. It's the Jordan fadeaway. Nothing but net. His Ernest had 20 points in the first half. Bulls within one, but John Stockton answers. John Boy hitting the J. 13 points for Stockton. Jazz by 5 at the break. Third quarter, Rodman playing with pain. He's obviously bothered by that sore thumb. But the mailman can't take advantage. Malone misfires. He hit just 4 of 17 shots in the first 3 quarters. Utah supporting cast then steps up. Brian Russell with the 3-pointer. Jazz by 8 after 3. Fourth quarter, Utah turns up the D. Malone on the other end. He's going to finish the break. Jazz up by 6. But Chicago wouldn't quit. Scottie Pippen, top of the key. 3-pointer. That ties it at 75. Utah doesn't give up on the mailman. Malone, cold all night. Clutch jumper there. Jazz back up by 4. Under 30 seconds left. Bulls down 2. Jordan from the baseline. That's not going to go, but Pippen grabs the rebound and calls timeout. Great play by Scottie off the inbounds. Bulls go to Jordan. He drives. He gets double teamed. He finds Luke Longley. Luke, cool hand Luke, knocking it down. The Aussie comes up big. Sloan and the Jazz, though, have one last chance. 7 seconds left. Stockton and Hornacek playing the 2-man game. Stockton from the corner. No go. And we go to overtime. John Boy bumming in OT. More Jazz D. Hornacek forcing the turnover. Utah on the run. Stockton, layup and foul. Jazz up by 5, but the Bulls bounce right back. Jordan posting. Jordan fade away. Chicago back within 2. 10 seconds left. Stockton has it. Through the lane. Throws it up and in. Jazz by 4. Look at Jerry Sloan. No emotion. We saw that with Larry Bird. After a Tony Kukoc 3, made it a 1-point game. Stockton makes 2 free throws with 3.5 seconds left. Bulls throw it the length of the floor. Pippen ends up with it. Has to hit it to tie it. Not gonna go. What a game at the Delta Center. Pippen bumming. Michael upset. The coach shaking his head. Oh, Utah. Who said the Jazz were gonna be rusty? 88-85 was the final. Utah takes a 1-0 lead in the series. Those Bulls have now lost 4 straight games on the road in the playoffs. How's about that?
They look a little rusty from the 3-point land. Less than 20% were the Bulls from the bonus area. 3 for 16. That ain't too sharp.
It's not going to get it done. Right now, we want to go live to Salt Lake City. Our Kevin Frazier and the rest of our Fox Sports new crew on hand for Game 1.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's the Happy House, the Delta Center, as the Utah Jazz win in overtime 88-85, as Randall just told you, and take a 1-game-to-none lead in the NBA Finals. I'll tell you something. A window of opportunity opened for the Bulls, and then John Stockton came along and he shut it. The point guard was simply percolating tonight. He carried the Utah Jazz down the stretch, scoring 7 of their 9 points in overtime. He was the difference. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan, he dropped 33, but 33 by the player president was not enough. And afterwards, Jordan admitted that the team finally just ran out of gas in overtime.
I didn't really have time to think about if I was tired. At one point, I did get tired and I called a timeout. But other than that, I felt pretty good. I didn't feel like the beginning of the game. But I played 46 minutes, so you're gonna get some way tired.
I've never been good at predicting what's going to happen in the future. I just know that we're going to have to play a lot better than we did tonight if we expect to beat this team again on Friday. They're champions and they know what to do, and we need to step up to that level and be ready to play on Friday.
It's a positive thing for us. Obviously we felt we might come out flat. We missed shots. We did some other things well. But we can take some confidence from this and knowing that we didn't play our best game.
Felt like a lot of the opportunities were there for a lot of our good shooters, and they didn't pull the trigger. And it forced me and Michael to have to create and shoot the ball.
You watch Chicago, they won games just like this, where they didn't really play well, they didn't really shoot the basketball well, and they won the game. And I think you can talk to them as well as us. When playoffs come, you just want to win.
Well, you just want to win, and tonight, Karl Malone and nasty, but down the stretch, he delivers. In the last 7 minutes, Karl dropped 6 points. That's the key. 3 of 3, and big-time players step up in big-time situations. Speaking of big-time players and big-time situations, let's toss it over to our Tom Kirkland, who has a very special guest, the mailman.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. The mail came a little late, but boy, you delivered in the fourth quarter.
It came real late, but I didn't shoot the basketball really well. I had some great looks at it. I think the most important thing is what I tried to do the whole night was stay within the offense. The shots was there, and I just wasn't able to make them. But down the stretch, we ran the same plays, and I was wide open a lot of times. So down the stretch, I knew they was going to be jumping around a lot, and I just wanted to concentrate on making it. And like I said, the shots that I made was the same one that I missed the whole game.
You know this, but part of the genius of John Stockton was to continue to pound it down to you, knowing you'd come through. But what a ball game for him.
Yeah, Stock had a great game for us. I think every time in a crucial part of the game, he did something to point us in the right direction. And I think that we expect it. I played with Stockton now for 13 years, and that's something you grow to expect from him. And I think maybe catch other people by surprise. But with us, he do a heck of a job for us, and he did a tremendous job tonight.
Got to ask you whispered something to Michael before the last play, I believe, heading in, but the last play of regulation. What were you trying to get into his head a little bit?
No, I wasn't trying to get into his head. He kind of smiled at me early on or whatever, and I just kind of said something to him, but it wasn't.
What'd you say?
Well, nothing. We just messed around. It wasn't really nothing. It's just part of it. I want to win the NBA Finals, but you also want to have fun doing it. And, no matter what other things was going on, it's just part of it. It's just a mutual respect that I have for them.
You said this was a huge game for you guys to come out and look ahead to Game 2 on Friday night.
Well, Game 2 is going to be tough. You go from them saying they want to get the first game now to we just want to get one. And they got the kind of team that can do that. But what we have to do now is put this game behind us and do like we did in the Lakers series. Just take one game at a time, knowing it's going to be tougher, right, and just go out and play our game. And like I said, if those shots there on Friday, I'm going to take those shots on Friday.
Final thought is about footwear. You changed sneakers at halftime. What was that about?
Well, they kind of blew out on me or whatever, but it's kind of neat when you with the company that don't mind how many pairs of shoes you wear. So I had a couple pair left on the bench. I was able to change or whatever, and they felt a little better.
Okay, Karl, good luck on Friday night. Big ball game here. That's the story here, Kevin. The Jazz roll, and they've won 7 straight in the playoffs now, and the Bulls know they have a big fight on their hands.
Indeed they do, TK. I'll tell you something. Fabulous game by Karl Malone down the stretch when it counted. He's a superstar. No finals coverage would be complete without our own big game James Worthy. As a matter of fact, I found this sign. We are not worthy. The fans in Utah looking for big game James, calling for him. So let's kick it back to L.A. And James, I want to ask you a question. Did the Utah Jazz, they play so bad tonight, do the Chicago Bulls, really get away, or do the Utah Jazz get away with one because the Bulls should have won this game tonight?
Well, I think the Utah Jazz got away with a poor game. You know, this is a game where Chicago wanted to come in and establish themselves early, and they did because of the poor shooting. It wasn't until the second unit for Jerry Sloan came in and really got the energy going, they got the tempo going, and really I think that made Chicago a little bit tired. As you saw, Phil Jackson took Pippen and Michael out at the same time. Unfortunately, the Utah Jazz could not capitalize on it until Karl Malone and John Stockton came back in the ball game. But I'm not really sure Chicago is going to play any better than they played tonight. This is a team that realized they needed to win a game, and the first one was the easiest one. I'm sure Utah is going to come back with a lot of energy. They're not going to shoot as poorly, and they're going to be wanting to go back to Chicago 2-0. No question about it.
I hear you, James, and you better believe 9 of 25 will not happen to the mailman again, at least not while he's playing in Utah. I want to remind you that there's a lot more coming from the Delta Center, TK, with more guests, and we will have more reaction from Game 1 of the NBA Finals. It was simply awesome. But right now, let's bust out the Fox scope and send it back to L.A., where James is scoping out Game 1.
Yeah, Kevin, this was definitely a tough game from the start. You know, the first games are a game where you try to fill each other out, and that's exactly what happened. Poor shooting by both teams, with the exception of Michael Jordan. But under the Fox scope, we're going to take a look at how this game played and look at some of the key factors of this game, because, you know, it started out going to Karl Malone, who was really off in the whole first half, particularly in 2 and 3 quarters. He was 2 of 8, but then these type of plays got him going. It was the dunk that got him a lot of confidence, and then he comes right back with this particular play. Now, you see he's thinking about shooting him, and he knows he's been missing the shot. He sees the gap, the path through the basket. Boom, he goes to the hole once again. He says, look, I need to get going, and he does it by going to the hole. Now, Michael Jordan got warmed up in the second half, too. He would not let his team lose this game. Then Scottie Pippen came alive and tied it with that big 3 at 75-75. And then at the end of regulation, big play here. Hornacek going to set a pick for Stockton. But I want you to watch Steve Kerr, very smart and alert, comes off and switches and takes away what would have been an open jumper. And John Stockton is known for knocking those down. Good defense by Chicago. And then in overtime, Utah goes right back to their bread and butter. You know, in regulation, Chicago is pushing them way out. But this time, Karl Malone sets the pick and roll below the free throw line. That way, the defense can't react as fast as you see Pippen coming over. But he still can't get there quick enough because Malone is able to split that double team. And from that point on, it was lights out. As you see, a steal by Hornacek, which really sealed the game here. A three-point play by John Stockton, and then they went to the free throw line to win this game after the 24-second violation by Michael Jordan. A rare moment for Michael Jordan. Brian Russell staying down on the pump fake, didn't go for it. They played Michael Jordan very good down the stretch in that overtime. And the difference between Utah this year and last year is that Chicago was able to crack this team in overtimes in the last 2 or 3 minutes of regulation. Tonight, it didn't happen even after a poor shooting by Karl Malone. So I'm sure it's going to be a better shooting night for Karl Malone. But Chicago knows how to win, and they know that this crucial second game is going to be very important going back to Chicago. They don't want to go back 2-0. They know they got to steal one in Utah. So it's going to be even more intense on the next game.
And they know they need some more offensive aggressiveness from Tony Kukoc. Just 4 for 12, no trips to the free throw line.
No question.
You know, everybody's watching Pippen and Jordan.
Yeah.
Tony needs to sneak in there for Chicago's
he's
benefit.
he's the X factor, because the Utah Jazz bench is really scoring a lot more points than the Chicago Bulls.
Last night he predicted Utah in 6. He's looking good so far.
Yeah.
Looking good.
He's always looking good. He's looking good as Gene Dixon as well right now.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. Right now we're moving on. And you know, by the Game 1 of NBA Finals, by the time it rolls around, we usually already have a Stanley Cup champion crowned. But with the Olympics pushing everything back in the world of hockey, we're still waiting to find out who will skate for the Cup. Last night, Buffalo forced a Game 6 in the Eastern Final, and tonight in hot and humid Dallas. The Stars were hoping to force a Game 6 in the Western Final and avoid elimination. And Troy Aikman on hand to look at the slush in Reunion Arena. Temperatures in the hundreds in Dallas, and that makes for bad ice conditions, but not bad for Tomas Holmstrom in the first period. That goal for the Red Wings tied it at 1. Then Igor Lariano early in the second ripped one past Eddie, the not-so-sharp Eagle, and the Red Wings had a 2-1 lead, and they kicked it into the defensive mode. Mike Modano turned away by Chris Osgood. The deflection, and Bob Rouse, the defenseman, steps up and helps out Ozzie. Hitchcock thought it was a goal, so did the fans. They got ugly. Then in the third, Pat Verbeek thought he had a goal, but look at Lindstrom save Osgood's butt. Shanahan loving that, knock on wood. But then a minute and a half left. Red Wings thought they were headed to the Stanley Cup final. Guy Carbonneau used the stick of Nick Lindstrom to go top shelf. And all of a sudden, overtime was forced. And more hockey was required, but not very much, because in the first minute of overtime, Jamie Langenbrunner from center ice. What? It's true. And the Dallas Stars give Scotty Bowman a headache and more work, because a Game 6 is required now in the Western Final. 98 feet away for the game winner from Jamie Langenbrunner. And oh boy, afterwards, Stars coach Ken Hitchcock was talking about his team's success shooting from long range on Ozzie.
I don't think that we've talked about putting long shots on Osgood. I think we've talked about trying to remain a very simple offensive team, and part of that is dumping the puck in at the right time in the right place. But there seems to be, for whatever reason, some long shots seem to be going in the playoffs on this goalie.
I was definitely surprised. You know, it's been a long playoffs and not finding a goal for myself, and when one of those goes in, it's definitely a surprise.
Our persistence paid off, and I'm really proud of the group. We stayed with it and get to fight another day.
Later on this hour, we'll break it down even more as Craig Simpson skates in to put this Game 5 under the Fox scope. But Hitchcock talked about long goals given up by Ozzie, the McGinnis goal that he gave up in the last minute of regulation in one of those games in St. Louis. And he also gave up some soft goals to Jeremy Roenick in the first round against Phoenix. So got to wonder if his confidence is shaken, but he was able to come back from all of those previous goals, and the Red Wings hope he's able to do the same Friday in the Motor City.
New life for the Dallas Stars, though.
A lot of new life.
Stick with us, folks. We're just getting warmed up. We're going to be going back live to Salt Lake City. Kevin Frazier and crew with more on Game 1 of the NBA Finals. But first, let's take a look at what is straight up. Reaction still coming in on last night's base brawl in Kansas City. We'll have the latest on that.
And in Paris, Cedric Peeling was probably feeling like he did run a marathon in his marathon match.
And the U.S. soccer team makes one last stop before heading to the World Cup in Paris. All that and more coming your way. Straight up.
This is Fox Sports News Primetime on Fox Sports Net.
There's an island where the waters are still, where the only thing you have to do is lie on your back, watching the waves rush in and out all day long, and where you'll need to go to recover after you return from our trip. Enter the Heineken Seek a True Adventure Sweepstakes, and you can win a trip to Costa Rica, Thailand, Mexico, or South Africa. And while you're at it, you might want to book your recovery vacation.
Hi, it's Paul Revere. The British are coming.
For reliable nationwide coverage, get Cellular One.
Hi, it's Paul. The British are coming.
We've led the way in wireless phone service from the start. But just think if we'd gotten it to you sooner.
Hi, it's John Adams. I'm not here, so please leave a message.
Enjoy wireless service for only $9.95 a month, plus get a free Motorola phone.
Playing was great. We were this ragtag group of guys, just real scrappy. No one really knew who we were, but it just kept getting more and more exciting. Beginning of a game, the 6 guys would get together in the middle and we'd dive out to our position. Nothing can prepare you for the state tournament. It's the biggest crowds you're going to see. It's just a great feeling. I watched it again today before I came in, and I'd do it all over again.
The IHSA Boys Volleyball Championships, Sunday at 4. The crowds are forming, all the pieces are in place, and the golf scene is ready to cover the fairways and bunkers, ranges and pro shops like no other show. Steve Cashel brings you up to speed on the latest in golf, from exclusive interviews with the game's best to tips on how to improve your play and everything else under the sun. This month, get a trick shot lesson from Chi Chi and meet the Frank Lloyd Wrights of the Links. The Golf Scene, Saturday at 5:30 on Fox Sports Chicago. It's must-see TV.
Now, with more of tonight's most up-to-the-minute scores, highlights, and sports news from coast to coast, this is Fox Sports News Primetime.
We're back, and in case you missed it, Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals between the Stars and Red Wings is now over.
Indeed it is. They worked overtime in the Dallas heat. The daytime temperature reached the century mark. That's not good.
In there.
For ice rinks, ladies and gentlemen. Made for a soft, slow ice and a possible advantage for the Stars. Well, the final score certainly seems like it might have been an advantage. Well, how about a never-say-die attitude? That the big advantage for the Dallas Stars. Carbonneau ties it up in the final minute and a half. Jamie Langenbrunner wins it for the Dallas Stars and forces a Game 6 as he scores a red liner in the first minute of overtime, and he talked about the game winner afterwards.
And Mo dug the puck out and gave it up to me and kind of crossed the red line and shot it. And I think, I don't know, it might have been going wide a little bit, and he went to reach for it and just hit off the heel of his stick, I think, and went in the net.
We lose as a team. We don't, you know, we have our people that do what they have to do.
Scotty Bowman rallying the troops behind Ozzie. The city of Detroit
Scotty, forever the thinker. We lose as a team, you got to try to keep everything together.
The Motor City, though, kind of cursing Ozzie under their breath right now.
Well, hey, they were a minute and a half away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and that is a very difficult thing to overcome. But you know what? This Detroit team does have the type of experience that you need to try to keep things together. But you know what? It looked like this game was all Detroit, that they were going to keep things together and go on to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, Dallas scored first, but after that, the power play of the Detroit Red Wings got things going for them with just some good hustle. Watch here, Kozlov. Now, he's not even going with speed, just lollygagging through the neutral zone. 3 Dallas players back. Now, all the center defenseman had to do was step up on him, and this play's over. Instead, they allow him to come in with no speed, take the puck down low. Yzerman's down low. He gets bumped a bit, and Thomas Holmstrom does a great job of battling Guy Carbonneau. He keeps the puck alive, is able to get it out and fight. Now watch the quick pass by Lidstrom. That catches Mike Keane, and then Larry Murphy's in perfect position. Watch this shot. You want to talk about a knuckleballer. Remember Holmstrom, though? He goes right, gets in Belfour's face. The puck goes in off of him and Muni, and all of a sudden it's a 1-1 game, and the Detroit Red Wings starting to gain some confidence. Now watch here. Dallas tries to put it in. Lidstrom brings it up and gives it to Larionov. Dallas is making a change, but they still have a defenseman in good position to try to cut off Larionov. Now, Larionov's not known as a shooter, but watch this. Eddie Belfour, you know what? Look at him, look behind him. But you talk about a game of inches. Look at Belfour. Folks, that's where the puck goes through. If you can believe it, it sneaks through there. All of a sudden, that could have been a breaker. But look at the effort of Guy Carbonneau. The last minute and a half. Now, right here, Nicholas Lidstrom just trying to cut off the pass. Instead, a bad break, and it goes top shelf on Ozzie. Now, in overtime, Langenbrunner, watch this shot. He takes the shot. Now, it's starting to sink, and right here, it hits the ice. And look at it. It's starting to rise again up. Now, Osgood, it was going wide. You can see Osgood go to grab it. And that is the end of the Detroit Red Wings in this game. Now, as a goaltender, it's a hard play to make. You think it's coming along the ice. Osgood went to go put his stick out. He put it too far. It jumped up and hit the shaft. But still, a devastating loss for the Detroit Red Wings. As I said, mentally, you think you're going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Just like that, you got to go and re-prepare yourself for Game 6. I like what Scotty Bowman said, though, on the podium there. Hey, we win as a team. We lose as a team. You can't start pointing fingers. But this, guys, is going to be a great test for Chris Osgood and the Detroit Red Wings to try to battle back and keep their confidence up. Hey, they still are up 3-2 going back home, a good sign, but a devastating loss nonetheless.
Dallas is riding really high at this very moment, but they have had no success in the city of Detroit. They've won only once in like the last 20 games.
I know,
think.
it's ridiculous. And believe me, that'll be in their mind. But at this point, the toughest win is to eliminate a team. And Detroit knows that, especially now that they've given the Dallas Stars some life. And if anything, Ken Hitchcock is going to forget about the past and say, boys, put that all behind you. The reality is we are 2 wins away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals. A lot of people counted us out. So this is a great chance to try to prove ourselves once again. So I don't think that'll be a factor. If anything, it'll be a motivational factor for the Dallas Stars. Guys, we got to break this out, and we got to win a game in Detroit. I think it's going to be a super game. I thought Detroit would win this game tonight. They were so close to doing it, but you got to give Dallas all kinds of credit.
Quick comment, too much made of the slushy ice and the Heat in Dallas?
Yeah, it's the same for both clubs. We always just say you both have to play.
So close, but yet so far.
You got it.
And hockey is a game of inches.
You got it.
You know it was coming. We got to take another break. Coming up, we're going to get to some soccer, some football. Some Major League.
You are
soccer.
kidding me.
I wouldn't kid you.
MLS is a part of our future.
Bring it in.
People are calling each other all over the country. Do you know what's coming up on Fox Sports News? MLS. Forget everything else. It's MLS.
These lights. They say it costs $1 million a day to light Las Vegas.
I've been here 6 times.
Twice. 46 times. This is the best place to watch people.
Sigmund Sigvir.
Hey, aren't you guys Siegfried and Roy?
Roy.
Actually, I'm Siegfried. This is Roy. Hey, can I get comps to the next show? Okay. That's cool.
This is a great place. There really is only one Las Vegas.
The hard work that goes into getting a beautiful natural wood look just got a whole lot easier. New Olympic Interior Wood Stain minimizes problems like blotching, streaking, and lap marks with our unique absorption control formula. Seal with Olympic Polyurethane's new Smooth Flow formula, and it's also beautifully protected. Olympic for interior wood. Now it's easier than ever to bring the beauty of wood